Good day, and how has your week been? Welcome to the second part of Lesson 9. Our topic has been the repercussions of disunity. Last week, we looked at Division 1, where we discussed Jesus and the unity of the church. Today, we shall discuss Division 2, that is, jettison all forms of disunity. We are looking at this under two sections: A, the repercussion of disunity, and B, the necessity of overcoming disunity. Let's start with section A, the repercussion of disunity. Repercussion means consequences which may be unintended. Disunity has unintended consequences. It is actually a spiritual sickness that makes us drift away from the foundation of our faith and the character of our God. Disunity is portrayed by divisions within the body. Factions arise, opposing one another in opinions, in agenda, affiliations to ministers, doctrine, and even culture. A divided church is like an army, turning and shooting its own people. Such a church wastes countless amounts of energy and time devouring her members. Members of a division often become narrowed in their thinking, focusing on what separates them from the other divisions within the main body. The fundamental beliefs that is supposed to bind the whole body together is often neglected. And so while some say we are apostolics, some say we are Pentecostals, and others will say we are charismatics, and often different beliefs are normally held on to by the different factions. Sometimes it could be that of language. We are the Yoruba speaking group, or as a speaking English arm. Sometimes it may be the fact that the particular group dresses in a particular way, different from other groups. They are able to identify themselves more easily from other groups. But in the long run, the idea of a global church is not seen, as everyone is just focused only on his local denomination or group. Where disunity reigns, personal preferences have taken priority over the Lord and his mission, and even personal kingdoms have taken precedence and priority over God's kingdom. So people take focus away from God onto their divisional leaders. Just as some said we are of Paul and others said we are of Apollos, people today focus more on their leaders than they are focusing on God. In a disunited church, there is stunted growth or even stagnation because the necessary fundamentals for growth have been neglected. A lot of energy may be spent going against one another instead of building up one another. Commitments of members will often dwindle, and the church is set in a backward trail. In the end, the church fails to fulfill its essence of existence. B, the necessity of overcoming disunity. Now, as we have discussed in earlier lessons, the church's purpose is to win souls into God's kingdom. Disunity works totally against this purpose. A disunited church cannot fulfill God's purpose. It ridicules itself and even adds more to the world's unbelief. In a disunited church, there is consistent strife that breaks down fellowship and works against godly virtues. A disunited church cannot please God. Hence, there is every need to dispel disunity. Unity is essential for the advancement of God's kingdom, and Paul in his letters constantly challenged believers to be unified and recognize that their relationship with God must show in how they relate to others in God's family. A church operating in unity is a church that functions as a team. In a sports team, success depends on each player knowing the goals and the strategies of the team, and then playing their own role while forsaking their own agenda or pride to contribute 100% to the success of the team. it is the same with the church. And as Mike Raworth wrote, the ability to succeed or fail in reaching the world depends on each member knowing the goals and strategy of the church, as well as how they play a part in the game plan. So, church leaders must consistently emphasize unity within their local churches and with other believers wherever members find themselves. Our lessons learned. 1. Just a little element of disunity can destroy our relationships within the church and even its organizational structure. 2. Disunity can utterly derail the church from its intended purpose. Hence, there is every need to conquer it and fulfill God's mandate. May we be fully inspired to fight disunity at every level in the church, in Jesus' name. I also pray that all the lessons from this series of Sunday School will become a practice in our lives and church. Next week, we'll move on to Lesson 10 as we gradually come near to the end of our 2020 Sunday School lesson series. Till then, do have a glorious week and God bless you.